What's going on? Welcome back to Musi Game here, and today we just saw Rise of Kingdoms official Facebook page just released new information about the March Zenapar event city theme. Now, as you guys can see, we don't really see how the Zenapar city theme is going to look like, but we know that it's going to happen in March, which means that it's going to happen in 3 weeks from now, at the time of this recording, at the minimum, right? Right now is February 12th, 2026, where I'm at, which is the west coast of the United States. So yeah, we're gonna see this event city theme coming in like 3 weeks or so. So if you guys are ever wanting to get the city skin at the end of the day, I would suggest that you get your 50,000 expansion popped right away, and then try to get the as much lead time as possible so that you don't have to waste too much speed ups. But I know that that's a little tiny piece that you're gonna be getting the head start off of this, but hey, every step counts for Zenapar event when it comes to Zenapar event at the end of the day, in my opinion. But yeah, and also at the same time, we can see what kind of bonuses that you can expect from getting the city skin. You guys can see that it is 20% infantry defense. Just to give you a little bit of background on how I think that's gonna perform before we get into nitty gritty stuff of how that converts to all damage and then how that ranks among all the other city skins that is already released for infantry, which I'll go over in the later part of this video. 20% infantry defense, that's not really the best stats that you're gonna be able to find in infantry as far as what I remember. Because lately, ever since the release, ever since Lilith has adjusted the crystal tech, defense actually became less and less valuable for infantry. While meanwhile, attack has become more and more valuable. Right? I don't know if infantry is a troop type that the attack is more valuable than defense, but we'll go ahead and take a look at it later. But yeah, I don't think this is the best city skin. I don't know if this is gonna be the best city skin. I think 15% infantry health city skin is still going to be the better of the better than this one, and possibly the 20% infantry attack skin might still be better than infantry defense. But we'll go ahead and take a look at that in a spreadsheet later today. But yeah, 20% infantry defense skin. Now, granted, that 20% city skin is very rare. There's only one other infantry city skin that does give you up to 20% city, stat bonus, which is 20% attack city skin that was released 6 months ago or 9 months ago. It's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. But I'm just saying that, just objectively speaking, it's not just as strong as the 15% infantry, 15% health, most likely. But yeah, it looks like the design is also kind of released though. In we can only see the silhouette, but it looks like there's gonna be a woman statue that is holding a shield and a sword. So I'm assuming this could be Athena in the front, because that does seem like someone, some sort of Spartan or Spartan woman statue that's holding a shield and a short sword on the right side. So, well, I don't know. That's what it looks like to me. But outside of that, I can't really tell anything else. Like there's a little kind of like jewel sticking out in the top, and then there's like a little pillar thing on the top in the front. But yeah, that does look like a woman's statue. That's all I can tell. But yeah, looking pretty cool. Pretty sure, I'm sure, because like the latest lately, Rise of Kingdoms has been releasing really cool looking Zenapar city skins. The one that I have currently, you guys can see in the game, I have the 15% Cavalry city skin. Now, granted that this wasn't too bad looking when this was first released, well, compared to the latest city skins that Lilith has been releasing. Like, let's see. Yeah, like compared to like, this one, Nazar's Thunderscape, which looks pretty darn cool. Or even like, what's this called? Let's go to the legendary Kingdom Select. Look at all those Kingdom Select ones. They look absolutely good, in my opinion. But yeah, compared to those, yeah, the ones that we had in the past, again, not the worst looking city skin. Battles Bloom, the one that I have for 15% cavalry health, but it's not the best looking city skin as well. So yeah, I would say I'm sure it's gonna look better than whatever I have. for sure. Yeah. So that's basically about everything that we can capture from this screenshot right here. I don't think there is anything else that we have that can actually release information. Yeah, I don't think. I don't think Rise of Kingdoms has anything else released aside from this single image. So let's just go ahead and take a look at my usual spreadsheet. Whenever I do see a new Zenapar city skin does release, I do take a look at it in my spreadsheet and compare this to all the other city skins that is available for that troop type. And as you guys can see, I have listed out almost every single kind of top contender city skins that are out there for this for that troop type. For example, we started off with 20% attack because this is probably when I made this, right? About a year ago. And then we have 5% health just for the comparison to the best epic city skin. And then we have 10% defense because a lot of people does have 10% defense skin, 15% defense, 10% health, 15% health, and then 12% defense, which is actually for universal. There was a release of that 12% universal, the all troop type citizen that was released after I made this spreadsheet, so that's why it's in there for reference. And then we have 15% attack, and then 16% attack skin that was for universal. That's actually the two Zenith ago that was released for the universal 16% attack, which is actually really good skin. And then this one right now is the one that we're looking at the end of the day. Now, as you guys can see, I'm using the average infantry 1% all damage conversion to health. And then basically what I'm doing here is that on this column right here, I'm taking a look at how much bonus that this each city skin is actually giving. For example, the 20% attack city skin is going to give 20% attack. And then we're kind of using these ratios to convert that attack into the all damage. So for example, on this one right here, 20% attack city skin is going to give you about 6.8% all damage equivalent of stats, which means that, and then I actually just listed out all those all damage and then sorted out so that we can kind of compare it fairly against all the other skins that does give you those stats, right? And those are actually gotten from the latest Davers spreadsheet that actually lists out all the kind of value of the attack, defense, and health, and how they convert into all damage. When you actually take a look at the post crystal tech changes that has come into the game, so the lower these multipliers are, the more valuable those stats are. For example, 2.1% stats would equivalent to 1% all damage. That means that it takes less of health for you to get 1% all damage equivalent. Same goes with these two. So from looking at these, it does look like infantry defense is actually the most common stats that you can get, the most least valuable stats that you can get for infantry. That is most likely because if you take a look at the infantry set, I do have the infantry set built up on my Baichi. Right. If you take a look at infantry set, and if you take a look at over here, infantry gets so much defense from the equipment. You guys can see that on this set alone, I'm getting 72% of infantry defense, right? That's most likely the reason why, because at the end of the day, when you're running the infantry, when you're running through the math behind all the different stats, attack, defense, and health, you just gotta find the good balance between all three of those stats, and then more scarce that stats is for each troop type, more valuable it becomes when it comes to comparing it for like giving you more punching power or giving you more tankiness just in general, right? Also at the same time, if you look at the regular research center academy, you do get more attack and defense over here, because if you look through the whole military technology side, you guys can see that you guys get 10% attack here for all troop types, and you guys get 10% defense over here. And then you get 10% attack over here, 20% attack over here, 20% defense over here, but no health. So naturally, for all troop types, health becomes more valuable than any other stats in the game because it is just by nature more scarce, right? This one right here gives you health, attack, and defense. This one right here gives you health, attack, and defense. But you're missing 30% attack and 30% defense because they don't really have health for all those T4 technology and then T1 and T2 technology, right? So that's why health becomes more valuable than others, and that is as such reflected in this all damage conversion, right? Now, with that said, for infantry, the reason why defense is actually less valuable than attack and health is simple. Again, is because infantry stats, infantry equipment gives you a lot more defense than any other set in the game, right? So that's the reason why. And as such, 15% infantry health still remains the most valuable Zenapar city skin in general and in average for infantry. Now, there might be situations where 15% health might be worse than 20% defense or 20% attack. And those cases will be when the commander pairing does have a ton of health provided from the SAS. But this is actually just calculating the average of like the meta garrison, meta field march, which was by Chiluche, I feel, and then meta rally that they had. So just know that this is just to give you a better picture, better general picture. But in average, 15% health still remains the number one spot for the infantry best skin that you can use by giving you 6.9%, almost 7% all damage equivalent of stats, which is kind of crazy. Now, the second best stats, because second best citizen for infantry is actually 20% attack, because it gives you about 6.8% equivalent to all damage. Again, attack is slightly more valuable for infantry because you get so much infantry defense from infantry gears. So 6.8% all damage uplift is huge for 20% attack citizen that we had, I think 6 months ago, 9 months ago, whenever we had the 20% citizen. So this was really, really good. Now, with that said, the 20% defense citizen that is being released now is going to be the third best citizen that we're going to have in Rise of Kingdoms for infantry, with about 6.59% of total all damage expected uplift that you're going to get in average. Now, does that mean this city skin is bad? No, not really. But what I can tell you is that there's going to be much less competition, especially in the Season of Conquest kingdoms. Now, the early kingdoms, they don't have choice, right? They don't really have that many choices of Zenith Par skin. You get what you get, right? If you're in KVK 1, if you're in KVK 2, you're gonna just get what you're gonna get, what you're given from Lilith, right? So yeah, well, you just gotta use those if you're an infantry main at the end of the day, and if you're rallying your garrison for your kingdom. But for those people who are already in Citizen of Conquest for like a couple years now, like people like me, 20% defense city skin is not as appealing as 15% health skin if you already have them, or 20% attack skin if you already have them. So just to give you a little bit of perspective on how that kind of compares, and that is very contrary to what we saw in Cavalry. As you guys can see, the 20% defense city skin for Cavalry was actually the most valuable city skin that was released when the 20% Cavalry skin was released, compared to even the 15% city skin, health city skin. Now, the reason for that is because 15% health. Health for Cavalry is basically like defense, where they do have a lot of health gainable, obtainable from the equipment set. You guys can see that if I take a look at my own Cavalry set, and obviously I have the best Cavalry equipment that is possible in the game, right? I get 54% of cavalry health, right? So just like how it was a lot easier for you to get a lot more defense in infantry, health becomes more valuable, less valuable for cavalry because you have more access to health. Now that doesn't change the fact that you get just in general more health, more attack and defense from researchers, but it still becomes less valuable than it is for, let's say, infantry, right? So you still don't have cavalry health on these technology, right? So it still is kind of more valuable than other stats, but it is barely better. It's only 0.2% better, 2% better when it converts to all damage 1%, right? So that's why 20% defense skin was number one for cavalry, because like health is like more available and is not as valuable as let's say all damage or other stats, right? Other stats for other troop type. So yeah, just wanted to give you a little bit of perspective. And archers, I think, defense is still slightly more valuable than attacks. So if there was 20% attack defense skin, that will still, I think, be #1 city skin for archers. But for infantry, at this point, with just how the meta has been in terms of the gear as well as the commanders, 20% defense skin will be the third best city skin in terms of the overall value that you're going to get in average for infantry, is what I can tell you. All right, so that's pretty much it for what I have for you today. Hopefully this was helpful for you when you're making the decision to whether or not you should get that Zenith Power city skin, event city skin. Most likely the lower bar that you can get, the floor that you're gonna get for winning the Zenith Power skin is most likely gonna be 40 million power push. So if possible, I would say try to at least have enough speed ups and everything like technology planned out so that you can get that 40 million power push at the end of the day. If that is not possible, I would say just go in with the mindset that you'll potentially not be able to win this as well, because I see a lot of people who are very disappointed when they don't win Zenith Power city skin because they don't really know what to expect, right? These are expensive city skins, right? So just make sure you're prepared for it mindfully. Just go through, just look up Rise of Kingdoms Trading Simulator and then see if it is possible for you to push out 40 million power. If it is not, then I'll just say, hey, take a look at your kingdom cluster and see if the 10th place is going to end up being the 40 million power cut line. Most of the cases, people will push at the last day. So just make sure that you're actually vigilant in what you're actually seeing. This is just coming from me, who has won one Zenith Power event as a 10th place, right? It is very, very devastating, and it is very, very tiring. But you just gotta make sure that you know what you're doing, and you're looking at what people are doing as well. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, please go ahead and drop me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, guys. And as always, I'll see you all in the next video, guys. Peace.